Well, greetings, dear ones. We are, as always, privileged and honored and delighted to have this time to speak with you today. Now, this is a little bit different because our friend, the Sun, whom you know as Sol, would like to speak and would like to come through. So we welcome that dear one now to speak through our writer, to share in our energies and to share in our celebration of all that you are and all that you offer. Welcome, dear one. Most beloved, we are seeing you and are beyond thrilled at the beauty of your endeavors, because as you are walking this great mountain, as you imagine it to be, this very steep path of ascension, we would desire that you understand that it is a path of joy and not only of tribulation or assiduous endeavor, hard work, and feelings of, will I ever get there? And so we are calling forth now all angelic presences who are assisting and supporting us in our transformation, transfiguration, and assisting all of you in moving likewise into a place where you not only see joy and experience it in places here and there, you are, in a sense, the embodiment of it. Now, this will sound strange, and as you were hearing that beautiful piece of work with this marvelous New York City string quartet and this Pueblo musician, Mirabal, as you were hearing that, him singing and his young daughter singing with him in the background, and you're listening to the strings being plucked, and you're hearing these very ancient and pre-ancient sounds that are belonging to the Pueblo people, but also belonging to us and to your earth. And you're realizing that much of the vibration reaching you now comes to you in tonal form. And we see many of you, particularly in your sleep state, and this is, for us, a great moment of joy. We see you toning with these beautiful celestial beings who are, to you, maybe stars, suns, planets, meteors, etc. Some of them just apparently meandering, not really moving through space or space-time as you see it, with any real agenda, any immediate urgency, and yet you are toning with them, understanding the sacredness of their path as well as your own, and that you are joining with them now, dear ones. It is the most astounding thing that we have seen since you fell to experience duality, since you fell so far vibrationally, and since your DNA was so much reduced. And we rejoice with you now that no one can stop the rejuvenation and the restoration and the reformation of not only your DNA but your consciousness. It is your higher consciousness now shining down into your everyday mind and heart. And this is why, dear ones, this is why some things and some people that you have loved and that you have trusted and that you maybe grew up with and that you have felt was a part of your life, some of them now are going to stand back. Some of those things, some of those people, some of those ideas, they're going to distance themselves from you and you from them. And they're not going to feel to be very relevant anymore. And why is that? Except that you are spending your time in the etheric, toning with these absolutely beautiful vibrational notes coming to you from the cosmos, flowing to you from us, flowing to you from likewise our family, Helios and Vesta also, flowing to you from Great Mother herself, and flowing to you from the increasing vibration of your planet. Now that is not a thing to be taken lightly, for she is a living and breathing entity, and she only desires the best for you. And look at how much she has put up with over millennia. because this old crowd saw themselves as being in control for a while, have been planting lower vibrations into the earth so as to lower the frequency of earth experience. And they've been doing this for a very long time through their dark spells and expectations and technologies, and we can assure you this is no match for the determination of your own souls and soul families. This light that we offer, which is only a reflection of what we ourselves are receiving from Alcyon himself, and as well the determination of your higher selves to be the ones to speak through you even as you inhabit a physical body. Now, you may say, well, that sounds rather nice, but that is not my everyday experience, friend. I'm impressed with your heat and your light as you light up the world, but I would say that you're way off on that one because I hardly ever feel to be my higher self. And we would say that lovely presence is absolutely bursting forth, just pretty much, if you pardon the expression, dying to come forward, except you don't have to die anymore in order to become your higher self. So as you are beginning to realize that, you might just say to your higher self each morning, all right, friend, you are me in essence, you are my better part and my larger part, so how could you express to me today? What joyful thing could we do? Now, this probably won't be suddenly showing up at a large government committee meeting or a large government conference and announcing peace everywhere in the world. This might be as simple as plucking a flower and giving it to an elderly person, giving some food to someone who has no home, or smiling at a little one. It might not be, in other words, quite so dramatic a build-up as what you heard in this beautiful song, this beautiful composition that was played a few moments ago. And yet, all of the vibrational power of that music and of your higher self will be expressing, dear ones, in that moment. Now, what we would love is if you would just sit quietly for a moment. If you are lying, that's fine. If you're sitting, sit up straight with the shoulders back so that the heart space is beautifully expanded. And just move your hands a bit so as to enlarge the heart presence. And keep moving them. They're going to go out a little further each time, as if you were drawing aside curtains in a very large window. And keep moving those hands out, dear one, until you've just pushed them out as far as they can go. So keep coming back in. And then they move out again to a wider stretch each time until the arms are completely open. And at this point, if you can image it, your heart is as big as your entire physical being and even bigger. Now make it as big as the room. Keep moving those hands. They're motioning outward as if they're creating great waves from within, coming together and then separating again, flowing outward. This, until the room is full of your heart. And now keep moving, keep making those motions. Now it's getting as big as any building or house that you're in, as big as the whole property. And then let it very rapidly expand, take in your entire town, your entire county, your entire state or province or region, your entire country or continent, and then your entire planet and beyond. Now that love in your heart is spilling out now into the entire earth. You might think that as your higher self, you are prepared to go out into the world and end all war, end all starvation, end all illness, end this ridiculous war in space idea, end all the divisions between peoples of any kind, all ignorant or unequal or savage or unnecessary, shall we say, behavior. And will you have in that moment, let's say you've done that, will you have done something more powerful than what you just did a moment ago in broadening your heart presence to take in the entire earth? And of course, dear ones, of course you know the truth of that. You know the fullness of it. If we had asked you as a tiny child, is it a bigger thing to send love, or is it the bigger thing to change things outwardly? Each of you, we promise, would have beamed with your brightest light and said the best and biggest thing is to send love. Because as a tiny youngster, you never had to struggle to remember why you came in, why you were birthed into a physical body. The reason was always there. And though your verbal capacity may have seemed limited when you were tiny, you knew the meaning of the vibration, you knew the fullness and the power of the vibration of what love truly was, both the word and the concept. Oh, and the reality. You're all of you geniuses at how to offer love, especially, not only even when, but especially when a moment is difficult, especially when there's some sort of battle being fought. And really, dear ones, ask yourself, where is the real battle? As we look down upon you and everyone else in this, our solar system, we see that this is a battle not only for hearts and minds, as people love to say, but one of consciousness. And what does consciousness always lead back to but vibration? And what does vibration always imply? But the level of love you are willing to receive, yes, give, yes, mainly just to be. So in this lovely, beautiful composition you heard, Peace Call, there seemed to be at one point a cacophony of voices, and yet it was no chaos. There was a perfect blend of individual lines of melody and harmony, and point and counterpoint being offered by the musicians and the singers to remind everyone that that which appears to be in opposition to itself and to others is really just a matter of beautiful beings of light pushing through the thick resistance of third-dimensional heaviness, that heavy 3D Earth environment, desiring desperately to remember who they really are. So we would ask you to go beyond the logic, to go into the heart space. When you think of a group such as World Central Kitchen, going into places of natural disaster and war, not doing the very logical thing, but acting purely out of love, when you think of that and similar situations, you realize there's a group of people who have put aside everything they have been taught about what is sensible and what's logical. So, all right, they have found their note and they're singing it amongst the madness of loss and violence and conflict of all kinds. They're going to draw up that cacophony, which is every voice, and bizarrely turns into a symphony as each person's vibration moves into the high heart. So we don't say this to encourage you to suddenly drop everything and go into a war zone and try to rescue or feed unless you feel that is your path. We say this to remind you, each of you, of what miracles you are, of how powerful you are, of how beautiful you are, and that you are, each of you, not only toning along with these beautiful vibrational sounds coming in now, which your higher mind can always hear, and which you are singing along with in your sleep state, we assure you, as you are traveling here and there, different places on the earth or in or around it, you're always toning with the higher vibration of this cosmos. And the more that is felt, experienced in the heart space, the more inclined you will feel to do the illogical thing and to love those who appear to be not only loveless but unlovable. And then in that moment, dear ones, you will have crossed over from this left brain obsession with thought and reason into the power of the high heart. And if you ask us why we are smiling so broadly these days, pouring so much higher light onto the planet, it isn't only to awaken you and your fellow human beings. It is to celebrate the awakening that is already occurring. And so any time now that you find music that you love, that you find colors, artistic expression, the beauty of nature, the beauty of another human being smiling, any time you find a reason to rejoice, know that that expansive heart presence that you just gifted this earth with is shining all the more powerfully. And the gifts of that, they're going to come back to you many, many times over. So rejoice, dear ones. Absolutely rejoice. This great symphony you came in to be a part of, what you hear now, that the orchestra has finished tuning up and the conductor has tapped their baton on the music stand. And what you hear now are the opening strains of your own planet being reborn. So we would say, whatever dense or dark information you glean from your utterly lost and unmoored media, just release it. All of that nonsense is no longer in charge. All of you and your steadfast love for this earth, you're the ones in charge, dear ones, most assuredly. And so we are honored, utterly honored to be a part of this sacred gathering, and we send much love and so much support, more than we can possibly say. Rejoice. The portal is open wide and you pass through it. Namaste, dear one.